It's a new year, it's a new year. It's a new year. Did you notice? 2023? 2022 went by way too fast. Are we sure we're in 2023?
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool.
No! God, please, no! No!
Welcome back to Torn Apart and welcome to the new year. And as I did last year and the year before, I'm gonna be talking about the most anticipated films and TV shows of 2023. These videos don't tend to do really well.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I don't know whether people are just not interested in new upcoming movies, or they don't understand what this video is about, or the algorithm doesn't really know how to push this video forward. But I always end up doing it because it kind of like hypes me up for the new year. It gives me some reasons to keep going with my life, basically. It just gives it meaning, you know? And I hope I can give meaning to your lives as well by citing every single one Marvel Disney Plus show that is gonna be coming out this year and all the things. When it comes to the structure of this video, I divided things into things that I'm interested in, things that might come out but we're not really sure yet, so things that have been announced but they don't really have a precise date, and also things that I really don't care about but you should know that they're coming out this year because they're gonna be big events, and things that are definitely not coming out this year. And this has to do mostly with TV shows. Every single year, basically as soon as a TV show is renewed for a new season, they basically automatically say that next year the new season is gonna come out, but we know that it's not necessarily true for every single show.
Why the fuck you lying?
Copyright strike.
Why you always lying?
Copyright strike.
Oh my god.
Copyright strike.
Stop fucking lying.
Copyright strike.
For example, I found out that Stranger Things is supposed to come out next year, and I'm 100% sure that it's not, just because production-wise it's impossible. I'm not gonna give you the dates of release when it comes to the films and TV series that I'm talking about today, mostly because I'm aiming at an international audience, which means multiple release dates, which means different titles, and it's a huge mess. So I will give you like the month of release at times, but I don't even know if it's worth it at the end of the day because everything changes so quickly in the industry nowadays. Movies that were supposed to go to cinema end up on streaming platforms. It's a bit weird, so yeah, that's why you don't really have to write down the dates for these movies here, because you never know.
Let's go!
We're gonna start with January, and the first film that I noticed is called Megan. It's based on a story written by James Wan. It's another Blumhouse Productions, meaning that we've got a 50-50 chance that this could be either incredibly forgettable or like a masterpiece. That's what Blumhouse Production does, and I was really intrigued by the trailer at the end of the day because this creepy doll is incredibly weird, and I think it became like a TikTok sensation as well with the weird dance moves that it has. And the next thing that is noteworthy, and that might already be out at the end of the day because it's coming out in the first week of January, it's called The Pale Blue Eyes, and it's starring Christian Bale. It basically takes place in 1830, where a veteran detective called Augustus Landor investigates a series of murders at the United States Military Academy, and is aided by Edgar Allan Poe, a young cadet at the academy. Could be weird, could be interesting, could be definitely a gothic. Intrigued, but you never know with Netflix productions.
Leaving only that deathly pale blue eye.
For February, we've got the new Marvel movie, which is opening up the Phase 5 of the MCU, and it's called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
I can get you home and give you more time. If you help me. So, what's it gonna be, Ant-Man?
I was really intrigued by the trailer at the end of the day. I don't give a shit about Ant-Man. I don't even think I saw the previous 2 films at the cinema, and I watched every single MCU movie at the cinema just to tell you how much I just don't give a shit about these characters. But it looks interesting. For the first time in forever, we've got an interesting cinematography for an Ant-Man movie. It doesn't look like it's been shot through a shoe, and that's mainly the only reason why I want to watch it. I don't really care about how it's setting up new different multiverses, how we're gonna have a different version of Kang. I really don't care about that kind of stuff. It looks weird, it looks interesting, that's enough for me.
Oh no! Anyway, last week...
In March, we've got a really weird project coming out, which is based on Dungeons and Dragons, and it's called Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. We've got A-list actors in it, like Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and my absolute favorite, Sophia Lillis, who you might know from the movie It. Trailer looks insane. I have no idea whether this is gonna be good, but it could be so bad that it's actually good. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm not even gonna tell you what it is about, because who cares at the end of the day. It's one of those types of action movies. Just look at the trailer. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, just watch it at home.
Now go fight for your family. Go fight for the world.
I just threw a truck at a dragon.
Next, we're gonna get Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I'm a huge fan of the first Shazam movie. I had really low expectations because it came out basically when the DCU was dying, and it was really fun. It had a bit of an edgy kind of side to it. It was kind of scary in a teenager kind of way, of course. I'm not talking scary like a horror film, but it had an interesting, like, weird edge to it. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think it could be really interesting. Plus, now that we've seen Black Adam, maybe we'll have more links with that film there. But I mostly watch it just for Zachary Levi, who is just really fun to watch at the end of the day. They've also announced Scream 6 for March. I honestly almost don't believe that this movie is coming out next year, at least not in March. Mostly because when I was doing all my researches for the movies coming out this year, I was doing them in November and December, and there was no official poster, there was no trailer. It's incredibly weird, especially since Scream 5 was such a huge success at the box office. If it was actually ready, we would know.
Friends don't lie.
So I have a feeling that it's definitely not ready. Plus we had that weird controversies about different salaries. In my opinion, it's not coming out in the first half of 2023. There is no way. There is no absolute way. And if I'm wrong, you can hit me on the head. What we know about it for now is that it's gonna be taking place in New York City, which is gonna be fun just because the Scream franchise, even though it's always been incredibly interesting because of all the postmodern things about it, at the end of the day, it always kind of follows the same kind of plots and action sequences. So if we set it in New York, could be interesting, could be refreshing. I'm really excited for it. I actually have no idea why I put this movie here. It's coming out in April. It's the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Am I actually excited to watch it? I mean, the trailer is the only thing that sold me to it because I'm kind of bored of seeing Chris Pratt in every single movie. And back then when he was casted, I had no idea that this was gonna be an animated movie. I thought this was gonna be a live action movie, so I was incredibly weirded out by this choice. But I think it can work and it looks really beautiful, and I like the idea that the Illumination Studios is working on something different that is not the Minions movies, especially because they have a lot of talent at the end of the day. Hopes are low though, and I don't know whether I'm gonna be seeing it at the cinema at the end of the day, but it's coming out, so there you go.
Let's go.
We're getting a really cool film which is called Evil Dead Rise. I was a huge fan of the remake that came out a couple of years ago. It's one of the goriest and scariest movie I've ever seen. For once, it's a remake that completely changes the tone, the topic of the original, and they both work in completely different ways. And I think this is gonna be going in that direction as well. This is gonna be super gory and super scary. It's definitely not gonna be following the kind of like Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series that they did a couple of years ago. But I'm really hyped for it, mostly because I think that the Evil Dead universe is so incredibly funny and interesting and has so much potential. Then there is this weird pure drama called Chevalier, which is coming out, and I was kind of intrigued by the trailer, so I put it in my list as well. And it's basically about an incredible true story of the composer Joseph Bologne, also called the Chevalier de Saint-Georges, who is the illegitimate son of an African slave and a French plantation owner. And he rises to improbable heights in French society as a celebrated violinist, composer, and fencer. Interesting concept, plus it's a true story as well, and I've never seen anything like it. Reminds me of Bridgerton. Gonna be good, who knows? Sounds interesting.
We'll all fly away together. One last time. Into the forever. That beautiful sky.
In May, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. When it comes to the second movie, I think it had a lot of emotional moments that worked quite well, but it was not the iconic kind of cult classic that the first one was. So I have no idea where this is going. Plus, the Guardians in the Love and Thunder movie, they were treated as such useless jokes, and I have no idea whether James Gunn is able to come back from that, or whether that disgusting movie has just tainted our memory of the Guardians forever. We'll see. I guess we'll see.
Into the snake that you cannot trust.
Really dragging this out.
And finish the classic Asgardian I won.
In June, we've got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and I remember from last year's video, I think they announced that this was supposed to come out in October of 2022 or something along those lines, and they moved it. And it makes a lot of sense for animated movies, especially just because Into the Spider-Verse was such an incredibly good-looking movie. So if they need more time to make it work, give it as much time as possible, especially knowing that the animation / SFX teams are completely overworked in Hollywood, so I completely understand it. We've had the trailer for this movie for such a long time, and they're probably going to be releasing like longer trailers as well, but I'm not going to be watching them because I'm going to be seeing this at the cinema 100%. It's going to be really good and really fun.
Wherever you go from here, you have to promise to take care of that little boy for me. Make sure he never forgets where he came from. And he never doubts that he is loved.
In June, we also have a new Disney Pixar movie called Elemental. We don't know that much about it. We've seen like a couple of snippets, and it kind of looks like Soul, but using kind of like the different elements, so fire, air, earth, and water. And the story is basically about a journey alongside an unlikely pair called Amber and Wade in a city where fire and water, land and air residents live all together.
Hi, everyone! Wish I could be there with you. I'm sorry for all the extra noise. As you can see, we are filming the latest installment of Mission Impossible. And right now we're over gorgeous Spider Canyon in stunning South Africa.
In July, we're gonna be getting the first part of the next Mission Impossible movie. I really like the Mission Impossible movies. I feel like it's the only action franchise that has managed to stay so fresh for so long. I really trust Tom Cruise and McQuarrie when it comes to the way that this franchise has been evolving across the different years. Plus, if they want to do it in 2 parts, there must be an interesting story behind it, so I'm really looking forward to that one as well. In July, we also have the Greta Gerwig Barbie movie. I'm so fucking excited for that movie. Just by looking at the pictures, I was like, I'm so 100% in. Plus, they had that incredibly fan-made poster version of it, which is basically like they turned Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer's poster into a Barbie poster, and it's so funny. funny, and I'm really looking forward to it. Greta Gerwig is an interesting filmmaker, and this movie is definitely gonna make her go to the moon, without a doubt. And in July we also have another Marvel project called The Marvels. We got a little snippet of the beginning of The Marvels with the very end of the Miss Marvel TV show, where basically Kamala Khan swapped bodies with Captain Marvel, or they swapped places. I don't even remember at this point. We don't know what it's gonna be about. We still don't have a trailer. It's an MCU movie. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be sort of interesting and fun at the end of the day.
Beware my tasty hostess snacks!
In August we've got yet another superhero movie called Blue Beetle, which apparently is DC Comics as well. I've never heard about this superhero, I've never seen the comics. It looks really weird and kind of cringy, but it can work out. I just really hope that they give it enough budget not to look like a CW show, because this hero here really looks like it belongs in a CW show. I really hope they can convince me of the opposite. And basically it's about a Mexican-American teenager called James Rice who gains superpowers when a mysterious scarab binds to his spine and provides him with a powerful suit of blue alien armor. Superhero movies all sound the same, even when it comes to their bare bones plot lines. In October they've announced the new Kraven the Hunter movie starring Aaron Taylor Johnson. I love Aaron Taylor Johnson, I loved him since Kick-Ass, but he's really crafted for himself an interesting action lead persona. If you liked Bullet Train, for example, I'm pretty sure that you could see how it would make such a perfect Kraven the Hunter.
Bastard! You dirty fucking star!
Once again, is this part of like the Morbius, Venom, weird Sony universe? If it is, this could be so incredibly bad. In a good way? I have no idea. Honestly, I have to see a trailer to know whether this movie is actually gonna be interesting or not. And after the Halloween franchise, David Gordon Green is directing a new Exorcist movie, which is supposed to come out in October as well, even though I'm not really sure, because we got literally Halloween Ends like a couple of months ago, so it's kind of weird they managed to do both of them one after the other and coming out 1 year after the other. It's really rare, but it can work mostly for horror films. It can happen, you know? I have no idea if there are any new things to be told within the Exorcist like franchise or universe. It's always the same thing, it's always the same kind of cliches. Honestly, I haven't seen an interesting Exorcist movie since the original one, so my expectations are incredibly low.
Maybe think of it as a gift. It's like a new skin working into place. For you to complete your transformation.
This is just a little game.
But I can take some blood.
And in November we finally have Dune Part 2. I am a huge fan of Dune. I love the book and I have a review for it as well, which is one of the very first videos of mine that completely exploded, and it got me like 2,000 I think views, which was a lot back then for me anyways, for such a super tiny channel that didn't even have like 100 followers. This movie is gonna be amazing. I really trust Denis Villeneuve, I trust his cast, I trust all of the people who are working on it, and I'll finally be able to give Dune like that perfect 5 rating score, because I remember when I was writing the review I was like, it's almost impossible to rate this, mostly because we know it's part of a 2-movie story and that first part is only as good as the second part, because if the second part doesn't work then the first part almost will feel a bit useless. It's not like the It movie where they cut it in half and the first part almost feels like a completely standalone movie.
Hi, Georgie. Bye, bitch!
No, Dune, we literally only have half of the journey and we need the rest of it to be able to actually appreciate it. But I'm really looking forward to it. Then we've got the Hunger Games spin-off, which is called something weird like The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Of course, the writer needed to give this book like a really weird title because no one would just go and read the President Snow prequel. because it's such a weird concept, such a weird title. But this is what this movie is gonna be about. It's adapting the book, of course. The only reason why I think this could be good, it's just because Francis Lawrence is coming back to direct and because Hunter Schafer is attached to it as well. The three only reasons. This might be good only because of those two people who are just really, really talented. And then we're supposed to get another Disney / Pixar, we don't know anymore like who does what at the end of the day, movie called Wish. That's it. Honestly, I put it on my calendar just because I know that it's gonna be mildly interesting, but my expectations are low just because it's coming out towards the end of the year, you know. And in December, we're finally gonna be getting Aquaman The Lost Kingdom. I have no idea why they pushed it almost by 1 year. Production problems, maybe they really wanted to completely delete Amber Heard from the final cut. I have no idea, but it's weird. And oh, maybe they didn't want to compete with Avatar. It's possible that it's because of that reason, but why push it by an entire year? They were so scared of Avatar. I don't know, maybe it could have been an interesting like counter programming thing, just because everyone has been waiting for Avatar. Of course, I understand that, but at the same time, if Avatar is not that good, Aquaman could have punched it out of the box office.
I love the smell of CGI in the morning.
But yeah, I don't know. The first Aquaman was really fun, so that's why I put it on my calendar. And Jason Momoa is just really, really fun to watch in this role. And those are the only reasons why I'm interested in this universe. And James Wan is directing it, so you know, we've got good people behind it. But it's a DCU movie, so. And now I wanted to talk about some movies that could be really good, but also could be really bad. No idea. The only reasons why I recommend these movies is mostly because they're attached to really good directors and a really good production company called A24. So next year we're supposed to be getting the third movie in the Mia Goth Ty West universe called Maxine. We don't really know that much about it besides the fact it's gonna be a sequel to X. I'm really looking forward to it, mostly because X was kind of fun. Pearl was really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to Maxine and seeing where he wants to push this story forward. And I'm really looking forward to another performance by Goth, just because she's so incredibly good and she deserves an Oscar, 100% sure.
I'm a fucking star! The whole world is gonna know my name!
Say it now.
I will not accept a life I do not deserve!
I do not deserve!
Then we've got Ari Aster, who's coming back with another movie called Disappointment Boulevard. I talked about it last year because it was announced last year already, but it's actually coming out this year. I love Ari Aster's work, so I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a masterpiece. Then we've got Alex Garland's Civil War. I actually liked most of Alex Garland's movies besides the last one that he worked on, Men, and I have a review for it where I just completely tear it apart. Check it out. So that's why my expectations are a bit meh when it comes to this film here. But it could be interesting mostly because he said that this might be his last movie as a director, because he wants to go back to screenwriting and the low stakes that come with having that position as well. We've got Steve McQueen, who's coming back with a new documentary called Occupied City. He hasn't directed anything since 2018's Widows, which is the only film in his filmography that is just not that good, but just because his other films are incredibly good. So I'm intrigued when it comes to this project here. Then we've got Jonathan Glazer's Zone of Interest. If you don't know who Jonathan Glazer is, you need to watch Under the Skin. That was the last movie he directed back in 2013. I'm 100% sure this will be a masterpiece. It is a weird thing where when really talented directors disappear for like almost 10 years, when they come back with a movie, you know it's gonna be a good movie. Look at George Miller, insane things that he did with Mad Max Fury Road, right? We've got then David Michaud, who is the director behind Animal Kingdom and The Rover, who's coming out with a new movie called Wizards, and it's starring Pete Davidson. I love Pete Davidson and I really like David Michaud's work as well, so I'm hooked. And this is basically about two pothead beach bar operators who stumble across some stolen loot and lack the good sense to leave it alone. Then we've got Rose Glass's new movie, which is called Love Lies Bleeding, and it's basically about Kristen Stewart being an LGBT bodybuilder. It's gonna be nice. I mean, she directed Saint Maud, which is one of my favorite movies from a couple of years ago, so this is definitely gonna be interesting. It looks weird.
yn hlentyn, mae'r awr yn nesau. Yn fuan fy fyddin ymuno ar coflediad mawr.
Then we've got Joe Talbot, the governess. Joe Talbot is director from The Last Man in San Francisco, a movie that I really liked. And The Governess is basically based on Anne Serre's novel of the same name, and it follows 3 rebellious governesses who append the household they work in, inspiring the minds of the boys in their care, igniting the imaginations of the bohemian couple who employ them, and abandoning their charges for erotic adventures. What? What the fuck? That plot really changed towards the end, right? Then we've got Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, starring Lily Rose Depp and Bill Skarsgård. Wow, yes, give it to me. I don't agree with people who say that we don't really need a new remake of the original Nosferatu, just because Nosferatu is a really old film, and Robert Eggers is the perfect person to do it justice. He's such a weird guy, and he makes such really good period horror movies, and I think a couple of years ago in an interview he said that he will never make a movie that is taking place in contemporary society, and I applaud him for that, because those kind of weird period horrors or folk horror movies are just so good and we don't get enough of them. Then we get a couple of Netflix announcements when it comes to the movies, and I don't really know whether these are actually gonna come out. We never know with Netflix because they cancel things on a whim. So we've got a movie called Havoc, which is directed by Gareth Evans, who is the guy behind The Raid, and it's starring Tom Hardy and Timothy Olyphant. Apparently they're getting a Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley movie directed by the duo Adil and Bilal. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop is one of my favorite franchises ever, plus Eddie Murphy is coming back for the role as well. I mean, it's not a remake, it's not a reboot, so it's definitely gonna be interesting. They announced an Extraction 2, they announced a new movie with the Russo brothers which is called Electric State, and it's starring Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt, and this time around it's a science fiction movie. I don't really like everything that the Russo brothers have made since they stopped making Marvel movies. Since it's science fiction, maybe it could be interesting. Plus Millie Bobby Brown. Everything she touches turns to gold. Just saying.
Where's my pen? That's my pen.
Wait, what is it?
Go get your own pen. I also have a giant one on my back. Like, not a giant, but like this big. Well, now it made it seem like it's like I have a giant mole.
Like a whale. Millie! Back to the YouTube video.
Then we've got David Fincher's The Killers, starring Michael Fassbender. I've been waiting for this movie for so long, and David Fincher fans have been waiting for this moment for so long as well. Then we've got a new Wes Anderson movie which is called The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. Apparently we have an untitled A Quiet Place spin-off who will be directed by Michael Sarnowski, and Andy Serkis is working on a new adaptation of George Orwell's Animal Farm. Will it be interesting? Maybe. I feel like it's one of those things that could be interesting if it was a weird stop-motion project, but knowing Andy Serkis, it will not be that. Then we've got Salem's Lot, which was supposed to come out last year. We've got apparently like an untitled Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel. I'm not sure whether I'm actually interested in it. And we have an official announcing for Legally Blonde 3 with the 2 main actresses coming back, Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Coolidge.
Hi, I'm Elle Woods and this is Bruiser Woods, and we're both Gemini vegetarians. I have a bachelor's degree in fashion merchandising from CULA, and I was a Zeta Lambda Nu sweetheart, president of my sorority Delta Nu, and last year I was homecoming queen. Oh, 2 weeks ago I saw Cameron Diaz at Fred Segal, and I talked her out of buying this truly heinous Angora sweater. Whoever said orange was the new pink was seriously disturbed.
Fuck yeah. I haven't seen the second one, but I'm pretty sure that the third one will be amazing, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then we've got the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie called Poor Things, which will be starring Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe. I love Yorgos Lanthimos, and once again everything he touches turns to gold, into a cult classic masterpiece. Yes, give me more.
You and I are gonna get home.
Oh, family.
Ready?
And now we're gonna be heading into a list of movies I don't care about, but maybe you'd be interested in knowing that they're still coming out next year. And then we'll be moving to the TV shows. So, new M. Night Shyamalan movie called Knock at the Cabin, starring Dave Bautista. The trailer is already out. I haven't watched it yet. I will probably watch it for this video here, just because I want to keep my expectations low. M. Night Shyamalan makes 20/80 movies. 20% good, 80% complete, utter camp garbage. I want to keep my expectations low when it comes to this film.
We were called and are united by a common vision, which has now become a command that we cannot ignore.
The four of us are here to prevent the apocalypse.
Then we've got Creed 3. I didn't care about the second one or the first one, so that's why I put it in this list. We've got John Wick Chapter 4. Once again, they probably should have stopped the second one. The third one was already like stretching it a bit too much.
Why bother?
Maybe I'm wrong.
We've got Fast 10, don't care. The Little Mermaid, don't care. I'm actually going to be actively avoiding this movie. I really have a thing against live action Disney remakes. I don't want them to make any kind of money at the box office. So I urge you not to give them any money, not to go to the cinema if you don't want Disney to make these movies anymore. And if you want them to make actual original shit, okay? I trust you. Don't go and see it. Don't support it. Then we've got Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Fuck that. The Flash movie. I mean, I don't care. Ezra Miller is incredibly weird as a human being, and I don't like this multiverse thing once again with other cameos. It's gonna be like a No Way Home scenario once again, and I really don't care at the end of the day. We've got Indiana Jones 5, which apparently is directed by James Mangold. First of all, I don't believe this movie actually exists because we haven't seen anything about it.
I know fuck you lying. Why you always lying?
James Mangold makes like really interesting movies, but it's still an Indiana Jones movie, and I don't like Indiana Jones, so how am I gonna be enjoying this, right? I'm not. Then we've got Insidious Fear of the Dark. Is this the fourth or the fifth? I think it's the fifth, right, in the franchise? No, I don't care. We've got the new Martin Scorsese movie called Roosevelt. I found Scorsese movies incredibly boring. Yeah, that's it. Then we've got Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. I don't care. I mean, when he works on biopics, I don't think that he actually manages to make them interesting. Plus, I was so incredibly burned by Tenet and so incredibly burned by his other previous film, whose title I don't even remember right now. Yeah, I feel like the hype for Christopher Nolan movies is completely died. Now, Denis Villeneuve is the new Christopher Nolan. That's my official statement. In September, we've got The Nun 2, and in December, we've got Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet. Nobody asked for this, nobody cares. Then when it comes to the Disney Plus series, we've got a lot of them which are coming out. Of course, I'm gonna be reviewing basically all of them. Maybe I will not be reviewing like the second seasons. So apparently Loki season 2 is coming out, so maybe I will not be reviewing that. It depends. Depends if I have interesting things to say or not. We don't have a lot of release dates yet, but these are basically coming out. We've got What If season 2. No, thanks. What If season 1 was already bad. Loki season 2, as I said before. Echo season 1. I don't care about Echo. Agatha Coven of Chaos. I do care about Agatha, but what is this series gonna be about? It's so stupid. It feels like Disney is just pointing at things within their universe and being like, you get a series, you get a series, you get a series, instead of actually thinking about, wouldn't this be an interesting like limited just episode of 50 minutes like they did for Werewolf by Night? Yeah, they probably should, instead of doing series and stretching plot lines so hard that they're just not interesting anymore. The big series for next year is gonna be Secret Invasion, which looks interesting, and we've got a trailer for it as well.
And what is that?
And then we've got Ironheart, which is coming out directly from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I have no idea what that one is going to be about. And I do like the actress who's playing Riri Williams, and I just hope that they gave her an interesting suit. Enough budget for the series to actually look interesting. That's it, basically. When it comes to the Korean series that I watched, they have announced new seasons for Squid Game, All of Us Are Dead, and Hellbound, and I'm really looking forward to all of those. They also have announced a new Friday the 13th series called Crystal Lake, and if I'm not mistaken, Brian Fuller is behind it, so it could be incredibly interesting. I just don't know what it is gonna be about.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
We're getting You Season 4 in February. We're getting definitely a second season of Invincible, otherwise the hype is gonna go down because we didn't get it this year. We've got a new Silent Hill TV series called Ascension. Of course, we're gonna be getting Heartstopper Season 2, mostly because it's incredibly easy to shoot and to consume as well. It's probably one of the only series that I binge watched so hard, just because it was so incredibly heartwarming and fun. We have The Witcher Season 3, which is probably coming out. We still don't have a date, and they probably haven't announced it because of the spin-off series which came out in December. We're definitely getting Wheel of Time Season 2, otherwise the hype is going down.
The only way to stop all this suffering is to stop the wheel itself.
We finally get the first season of Last of Us, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, and I'm really looking forward to it. And you will be getting a review for it as well, don't worry about it. And then we get Mike Flanagan's new series, which is called The Fall of House Usher, which is probably coming out in the full season. And I hope that this is like a return to form when it comes to folk horror and actually being scary, because I didn't really enjoy The Midnight Club. And this is also the last season that he directs like back to back. So it's possible that we will not be seeing him for a while when it comes to new TV series or new movies in general. And this is the part of the video that I was talking about before where they've announced these, but I'm pretty sure that they're not actually gonna come out just because it's impossible. And these are Euphoria Season 3, Peacemaker Season 2, Our Flag Means Death Season 2, Love, Death and Robots Season 4, Umbrella Academy Season 4, The Boys Season 4, and Stranger Things Season 5. 100% sure these are not coming out next year because most of them require budget and time to be done well. Of course, if you don't want to do them well, then yeah, I mean, Umbrella Academy could definitely come out next year, without a doubt. And Peacemaker and Our Flag Means Death could also come out next year if they're literally like rushed as fast as possible. But I really don't think so, mostly because James Gunn now is kind of helming the DCU universe, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna be busy for a while. But that is basically it when it comes to my most anticipated things for this coming year. Let me know down in the comments all the things that I forgot, because this video would be unending, going forever until we all die if I just mentioned everything that is supposed to come out, is rumored to come out. So I just gave you like a small snippet. But let me know in the comments what things you're actually excited to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Every single like that you drop will go to... who do I give it to? I have no idea. Who do I give this like to for the beginning of a new year? I will give this like to Santa Claus. If you like Santa Claus, drop a like. If you believe in Santa Claus, drop a like. If you got presents for Christmas, drop a like. I'm Patrick, and this is Torn Apart.
This can't be real. This can't be real. Oh, okay, it's real.
Da 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 da.